Excellent. I will move on over. Hi, Kate Nagel.
Hello, John Riley.
John Riley, nice to see you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming on in. Welcome to our studio. We're all live. We're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, on our website Live, and so we just let Rhode Islanders know everything that's going on. And as I said, huge contingent of Irish here to talk about trade relations. So I want to talk about the center, and for folks who might not know much about it, how you got started with it and what we've seen so far, and then we'll move into plans moving forward. Who wants to start?
Well, if I just start perhaps, the centre started basically with a good relationship developed between Mayo County Council and the political establishment here in
Bring you
Rhode
a
Island.
couple steps closer here,
Yeah,
guys.
sure.
Okay.
And following from that, the idea was born of improving trade relations and putting a centre in place. And we worked closely with some good colleagues here in Providence that started the centre, and over the last while we have taken a number of companies here, but we have much bigger plans for
You
that.
have much bigger plans. You're going to tip us off a little bit what these bigger plans might be.
Yes,
Well, effectively what we're planning to do is we're going to employ somebody that's going to be based here in the centre, and that person is going to play a pivotal role in being a link between our companies back home and the opportunities that are, I suppose, attendant in the North American market. And so we have a sample of companies that have come with us on the last number of trips, and we're going to grow that number of companies that are participating by having that full-time person here, and we're tremendously excited about the potential of doing business in Rhode Island.
Fantastic. Now, it's Rhode Island based. Are you focused on Rhode Island? Are you branching out more across the region, or is this really the home base for you?
We see this as a stepping stone for the region, effectively. For if only New York is a couple of hours away and Boston is an hour away, so we see it Providence and Rhode Island as the stepping stone. But crucially, there is a lot of there's a lot of business opportunity in this state also that we're really determined to tap into and have our companies tap into. So, but we're using it as a regional base. Crucially, there's a lot of opportunity here first.
So what do folks see when they see Rhode Island? I mean, what's the reaction? Why do Irish businesses want to come over here, and what do they see as the opportunities?
I guess the opportunity is that you have got everything here in a small state, from very well established educational facilities. We have good business contacts here. It's also a particular advantage for us that the state of Rhode Island is small, because some of our clients are themselves quite small, and the larger American market would be just too big for them. So it's an ideal foothold to help us to grow those companies. And of course, over time, this is going to be a two-way process as well, because we most certainly are expecting companies from Rhode Island to come to Ireland and to trade with our companies and do business and sell. We see that business is two-way, and that's the way it must be.
So, you've been here for a little bit of time now. Where else are you going around besides coming into our studio here while you're in this great state?
Well, effectively, we have a building on our political relationships with the governor in our office, building on the relationships with Commerce Rhode Island and other enterprise development agencies locally. But mostly our focus is on the opportunities for the small businesses that we have coming from the west of Ireland to as I say, to use the centre as a stepping stone into North America. So we've been working with local private sector partners here who have been instrumental in I suppose putting in place itineraries for our participant companies and giving them the opportunity to, I suppose, to start to ascertain what are the actual opportunities for them in this particular region. So they are our clear focus over the next couple of days.
Now, folks who might be watching now, you can just see us here in the studio, but must have a dozen people hanging out here today on Way Bassett Street. Can you give me some examples, and I know I've talked with a few folks who have come in, but some examples of businesses that have taken advantage of the centre and what they're doing now?
Well, I suppose if I start in our own case, we have, and what I would regard as a typical example of the type of potential that will emerge over time. We had a craft brewer from Sligo come over here last October. He has been exporting significant amounts of craft beer to a very large chain across, I think, 18 different states in the US so far. He is also talking with a brewery here in Providence and there may be some licensing arrangement made. So good for him, good for Irish business, good for local business here.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have a strong brewing tradition here in Rhode Island and lots of breweries popping up, so that's exciting. I know folks are always interested to know what's going on the brewery front. Other businesses you want to talk about?
Other businesses we have, our focus has been on bringing a spectrum of business types. So we have manufacturing businesses here all the way through to service type companies. So we have professional service companies, we've had recruitment companies, we've had web development companies, we have in the whole cultural space, we have artists, we have a number of artists, we have small craft businesses, and then in on the manufacturing side we have two particular businesses are here, and I think you're going to meet some of them now this afternoon. One is a manufacturer of modular structures, buildings which are modular, which can be taken up and put down, and another is a manufacturer of high quality guttering for buildings. So we've been really focused on making sure that the companies we bring are from a broad spectrum, and in that sense are ideally placed then to give us and allow us to learn as to what the opportunities are in this particular region. And the main reason we're very excited about the opportunities attending to the companies is that when they come over here, they're finding that typically their products are very competitive in price and quality. So that's very encouraging for this particular project.
So you mentioned liking Rhode Island for its size. You're going, as you said, on the political tour, talking with folks at Commerce in the governor's office. What's maybe surprised you about working with Rhode Island, or do you feel like you anticipated everything so far?
Well, I don't think any of us could say that we anticipated everything, but certainly I must say it has been a pleasure to work with businesses and to make contacts here in Rhode Island. I think there's quite a number of us. We have a lot in common, maybe a lot more than we would think. Of course, there's a large Irish diaspora.
There is a large
here,
Irish population,
Gather,
yes.
I'm talking to.
Yes. Guilty as charged.
But whilst we wouldn't be surprised, we've been hugely heartened by the positive relationship we've been able to build here very quickly with Commerce Rhode Island, with the political establishment, and that's been absolutely instrumental in allowing us to develop meaningful opportunities for our small businesses and our businesses that are participating. So we've been really greatly encouraged by that really positive professional business relationships that we found here.
So have you found that it's been able to work on sort of the level with Rhode Island? Is federal government play into it, the new administration, any things to consider, in a new White House now in 2017 versus what you were working with before, things that you're considering that you're keeping an eye on now in the Trump administration, for instance?
No, not really. We consider that the opportunities that are attendant now in 2017 are no different than they were the last time we were here in October and previously in June. What's most important for us is that the business relationships that we're building up will probably supersede maybe the political administrations of any given time, and our businesses and our participants are not particularly focused on the bigger picture political situation.
Interesting.
I would say I agree with that, and as I said previously, business is both ways.
Yep.
So there will be opportunities on both ends, hopefully, at the end of this, and we'll all have a much closer working relationship as a result of it.
Now, we just did the big announcement of Norwegian Air at Green Airport, direct flights. How big of an impact is that going to have?
Well, I would say that it's a massive impact, and it speaks to a number of things. First of all, there is that the reciprocal business engagement and relationship between the West of Ireland and Rhode Island State specifically. Crucially, the Norwegian will fly from Dublin, Shannon and from Cork, and we're working really hard, and you'll hear a little bit more now in the next interview with another airport in our region, Ireland West Airport Knock, to position Knock Airport as a very viable complementary airport to allow Norwegian to fly out of as well into this particular region. So crucially it puts in place that infrastructural link between the two regions, and certainly is something that's going to really aid our efforts over the coming years.
Now, you've been you've been here before to Rhode Island. What are some of your favorite places to go when you're in Providence? Do you have any favorite, or do you just like trying new things?
This is my third time here, and I must say, if I start with food, which perhaps I shouldn't, but anyway.
We've got great food here, and you know we do.
Excellent food here, and a lot of restaurants that I really like. I'm sorry, I'm bad at names of them now, but I really do.
It's hard to go wrong. If people are bringing, especially if you have hosts and they're bringing you around, they're showing you the best that Rhode Island has to offer. But conversely, when folks go over, where would you recommend in the western part? If folks are watching now and they might know Dublin, but let's go west. If you're there for 3 or 5 days, Give us a little inside scoop. Where would you tell folks to go?
It's an interesting question because we're actually working on a tourism itinerary as part of the offering, the reciprocal offering from companies come over. But listen, the west of Ireland, where we come from, we're a collection of local authorities from the west of Ireland. It is the most stunning part of Ireland, really. You know, we would argue that most tourists who come from the US who come to Ireland, they explore a line that kind of is south between Galway and Dublin, and what's north of that, what's west of that, the northwest, the centre of the country, huge amount to offer tourists, both tourists but crucially also businesses, and we're really looking forward to Rhode Island State bringing over a state trade delegation in September.
Yes.
And that's something we will be working very, very closely with to give the state and the businesses that participate on that a really strong insight into the quality of world-class businesses that we have in each of our participating counties. So we're really excited about the opportunity for Rhode Islanders in relation to this particular relationship.
Well, I hope when they come over in, was it September, did you mention?
That's correct.
That maybe we can Skype in and get the sense over there, and you guys can report back to us kind of what their take is. We'll have a nice mutual relationship from a press standpoint.
That'd be super.
Because, I mean, as we know, sort of the walls are down, it's immediate, you know, folks in Ireland can be watching right now. We've got everyone live here, and just, again, that cross-cultural relationship has always been huge here, but you guys are just moving it forward by leaps and bounds. So what's on the itinerary for the rest of your stay over here?
We have a number of meetings tomorrow and on Thursday, mainly business meetings. We're also doing a number of interviews to appoint somebody here in Providence full-time to the Ireland West Centre to help manage it and manage relationships between Ireland and Providence, and escalate the level of service that we're currently supplying from the centre to a new level, basically. If we have someone here full-time to work with our companies, to work with companies here coming to Ireland, all of that, that's going to be huge.
That sounds like someone I might need to interview once they hire them.
Yes, we're delighted. We also have a number of social engagements, given the time of the year, of course. St.
Given the
Patrick's
time
Day,
of the year.
We have engagements in City Hall, and we're looking forward to those immensely. As you know, we had our biggest official engagement of all, I guess, was to be today, but unfortunately Mother Nature put an end to that. But when our Taoiseach, her Prime Minister, was to be here with her Governor Amanda, to open the centre, to launch the centre officially. But as I say, weather interfered.
And we're also really looking forward to the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday. And
Yes,
party
the
festivities on both Friday and Saturday.
The Providence St. Patrick's Day Parade. I wonder what the weather's supposed to be like. Hopefully it can only get better than this. But we really lucked out. I mean, as we're looking out, as we tell folks here, the studio, the camera's facing this way, but the streets look, fairly bare. They did a fairly good job. It's just kind of wet and heavy and rainy.
Absolutely. It's fine.
But it's not gonna ruin your good spirits being in here talking
No,
about
absolutely not.
talking about business. What you're doing here in Rhode Island. Well, that's fantastic. I know we've got some other guests who are going to be on shortly. We're actually expecting a couple mayors to be Skyping in to let us know how the road conditions are in cities around Rhode Island. So hopefully you guys will stay safe. And hopefully we'll be talking with you more again, maybe when Rhode Islanders go over in September, and we'll Skype in then. So enjoy the rest of your stay here. I'll have some more of your contingent in shortly here. Thanks for coming on. Okay. I'll let you guys go behind the screen here.